Maybe you've been told you're not enough, you're not doing enough, you're not as important as other people are, you'll never be free from your past mistakes, you'll always be stuck in the same exact cycle. Friend, I want to tell you that none of that is true. Did you know that as humans, we think up to 70,000 thoughts a day? That is that's huge. That is huge. But I think that's not even the craziest part to me. The craziest part when I did some research was that not only do we think up to 70,000 thoughts a day, but more than half of those thoughts are negative. Not positive, not neutral, but negative. They are weighing us down. And then on top of that, 90% of those thoughts are thoughts that we were thinking already yesterday. The thoughts that have been repeating in our minds over and over and over and over again. And if you watch my video on repeating negative cycles, you see why that is so important to know. Because in that video, I talk about BTEA. The things that we believe lead to the things that we think, which leads to the things that we feel, which leads to how we act. So if we're thinking the same thing over and over and over again, and the majority of it is negative, what are our actions gonna look like? What are the things that we're actually projecting into the world? What is that gonna look like? It's also gonna be negative. These thoughts impact how we see and interact with the world. And these thoughts are often programmed in by 3 different ways: what we hear, what we experience, and what we see. Maybe no one in your family has ever accomplished this thing, so now you have a limiting belief that you're not able to accomplish it. Maybe you've seen so many businesses crash and fail and burn, so now in your heart and your mind, it's not possible to have a successful business. What are the things that you have seen and experienced and even heard in your lifetime that are causing limiting beliefs in your life? Maybe you've been told you're not enough, you're not doing enough, you're not as important as other people are, you'll never be free from your past mistakes, you'll always be stuck in the same exact cycle. Friend, I want to tell you that none of that is true. Friends, what is programmed in can be programmed out. We were not born with any of these limiting beliefs. None of these beliefs of, you know what, it's just not possible for me to make money. It's not possible for me to have a successful business. It's not possible for me to make friends. None of that was programmed into us as a newborn baby. That is stuff that has been programmed in. So if it wasn't how we were created, it wasn't what was actually ingrained in us, then guess what? It doesn't belong in us. Now, while we cannot control what has happened to us, what we've experienced, what we've heard, while we can't control that, we can absolutely control how we react to it now. So this video picks up where that last video on negative cycles left off, and we're going to talk about how do you actually chop that tree down and grow new limbs that are healthy and positive and promoting life in your life. So I want you to think about this example. I always have these like little weird examples, but hopefully it helps. Suppose you are somebody who has negative self-image issues. You look in the mirror, you don't really like what you see, but you have a desire to get married or have a very successful relationship. If you were told negative things about your appearance over and over and over again and told, you know what, no one's gonna like you because of so and so and so and so, or you never saw anyone who looked like you in a positive relationship, you're gonna have a very different belief than somebody else who has the exact same features as you. Obviously not the exact same because you're unique, but the same exact perks that you maybe don't like about yourself, they have it too. They might have seen somebody else who looked just like them in a very successful relationship. Both those people are gonna have 2 different beliefs. The variable isn't the actual thing, but it's what they've seen and what they've experienced in their lives that tell them that something is possible or something is not. So that tells us that it's not necessarily the thing that holds us bound, but what we believe about the thing. Now, when I was in high school, I was an A student. I was in honors classes, AP classes. I did so well in high school. Then I got to college, an architecture school, and it was a completely different ballgame. I think anyone who has gone into architecture school or any kind of schooling like that, where it's super intense and they grill you and you have assignments every other week, it's not easy. It is a completely different transition. And plus, there was nobody that looked like me at all. So that was already hard. On top of it being hard, that was already harder. And I remember a couple professors came to me and they were like, you know what, Nadine, you're really good at like putting things together. Like you even will sometimes match your presentations to your wardrobe. You're good at all that stuff, but you know, maybe architecture isn't for you. Maybe, you know, something else is for you, like interior design, or it's just something else. Maybe architecture isn't, or maybe you should try a different career path. And I remember I kept hearing that and I'm like, why do I keep hearing this? Like, I'm doing architecture and why? Why do you keep telling me this? Like, you're not telling anybody else, anyone else here. No one else is hearing that. Why do I keep hearing it? Other people are struggling too, but why do I keep hearing it? Now, I ended up graduating. I graduated the 5-year program. I made it. And I went on to work in architecture for 12 years. And in those years, I did some amazing work. I worked on multi-million-dollar high-rise residential projects. I was a senior associate at one of the top firms in New York City, BBB. If you're look for architecture, I will rep them to the cows come home. They're amazing. I led teams on Michelin star restaurants and 5-star hotels, and I've done so much in my career. And I wonder sometimes I just think about it, if I had listened to those professors inside of my school that said, you know what? I haven't really seen anybody that looks like you inside of this field. And you know, this is actually meant for this type of people. Like, this is meant for these people, but maybe not you. Maybe you'll be good at something else. If I had listened to that, how much would I have missed out on? Now, God let me out of working architecture full time, but I have zero regrets in going into that field because I know how much I learned from it. And I also combated every single lie that someone said against me. Now, that was a success story, but I wonder how many other things have you allowed people to say over you, to speak over you, experiences speak over you, yourself to speak over you? How many times have you allowed that to determine what is actually coming to be in your life? Had I listened to the people that were telling me that I should quit, that this isn't for me, that it's only for a certain type of people, guess what experiences I would have missed out on? Man, we've been missing a lot. We've been missing a lot, but it's okay. It's okay, there's compassion here. We're not gonna get stuck. We're not gonna berate ourselves for maybe listening to the lies. We're gonna do something about it now. So I want you to think about if any of these sound familiar to you. I'm not good enough. A very common limiting belief. Whether it's in relationships, career, finances, personal growth, we can often feel that we're not good enough, or we compare ourselves to other people. And that holds us back from pursuing opportunities in our life. Number 2, I do not deserve success or happiness. A lot of times people have this belief if they feel like they've made constant mistakes in their past and they're maybe filled with guilt or shame, and like, you know what? I don't deserve it. I don't deserve anything good in my life. So instead, they self-sabotage and they turn down opportunities because they're like, no. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that good thing. Is that you? Number 3, I fail, so why even bother? This fear of failure, similar to the last one, can stop us from even trying. If you believe fear is inevitable, that there's no way to get around it, why am I gonna put myself through that torture and suffering just to get to a negative result? Number 4 is, people like me, we can't do that. That was a very common belief, especially, and honestly, I feel like that is why there are so little bit of people that look like me in fields like architecture. If you don't see the thing, you don't feel like you can do it. How many times has that stopped you in your life? Number 5, I'm too old or I'm too young to be able to do that thing. Now, I love this community because we have people from all different age ranges. We have 16-year-olds, we have 65-year-olds. We are diverse, and I love it. But sometimes we can have those beliefs of, you know what, it's too late for me to switch a career, or it's too late for me to be able to start a business, or it's too early for me to even think about starting these changes in my life. Either feel like you're past your prime or you're not experienced enough. Limiting. Number 6, I'm just not that kind of person. Have you ever said that to yourself? Oh, no, I'm not that type of like extroverted person. I don't have that type of personality. I know like I want to do that thing, but I'm not like that. Like, you know, that's only for those type of people. Like, I'm just not good at that. Number 7 is an interesting one. It is, I can't ask for help. I have to do it on my own. Now, I think there's beauty and so much loveliness in autonomy and independence and doing things for yourself, doing things, showing yourself love. But to say, I can't, that is when we know it's a limiting belief. You can say, I don't want to, I choose not to, but to say I can't is saying something isn't possible. Number 8 is, I need to be perfect before I even start. Now, I think this one's super tricky because it seems like it's positive, right? Like, yeah, I wanna be really good before I start the thing. But the thing is, it will never be perfect. If you are a perfectionist, I can relate, but I'm telling you, it is never going to be flawless. It is never gonna be. We are human, we have flaws. The things that we produce will also have certain flaws, but having this belief will stop us from even starting. Number 9, I've never done this before, or maybe I've never seen this before, so it's not possible. Lie, just not it. Number 10, it's too late to change. I've been this way all my life. Do you know how long, 55 years, I've been the same exact way? It's too late. It's ingrained in me. I can't change, I can't move, I can't do anything outside of what I'm used to. Whether it's a career, a personal pattern, a relationship, it's not too late to make progressive movement in these areas. It doesn't matter how long we've been in it. And number 11, I can't trust others. I will always get hurt. That is a disheartening belief. I know, I have been hurt, very hurt in relationships before. But if I allow that belief, which is something that I have to combat purposefully, but if I allow the belief that, man, what I've experienced is gonna be my experience in every other relationship that I come in contact with, I will never get the things that I actually desire. Now, I don't know if you've had any of these beliefs, but we are gonna be working through that in our journaling challenge. We are gonna be picking one of these beliefs. I'll also have a list of other ones just in case none of these resonated, and you're gonna pick them and we're gonna go through a process to combat it each and every day. And if you're not part of the challenge, I'm gonna tell you the steps right here. Step 1 will be identifying the source. Where did you hear this before? Where did this actually start? Step 2 will be challenging how valid this belief is. Step 3 will be weighing the cost of keeping this belief and the benefits of letting it go. We're gonna ingrain this in our brain. Step 4 will be rewriting the narrative. What is actually possible if I choose to go beyond what I believe right now? Step 5 is visualizing a life that is free of this belief. Step 6 is being mindful of your triggers to see when this belief is gonna come back up, what usually triggers it to come back up, so that you can be keenly aware and know how to combat it. And on 7, we're going to rehearse it. We're going to practice a script to be able to rehearse this in our brains over and over and over again. But I would also encourage you to take that same thing and rehearse it to yourself for 21 days. This new belief, this new thought pattern, rehearse it to yourself until this is no longer a belief, it's no longer limiting you, and you start to see progressive momentum. It is 1000% possible to change our negative beliefs into positive ones. It takes time, it takes reprogramming, but it's possible. So I want you to join our challenge if you haven't done so already and watch this video to see why it's so important to have this practice. Mwah! Love you guys. Woohoo!